Stadiums are a lot more louder than this. Come on. All right, so we know that cricket was an arranged marriage for you. Your father had decided already that this is the sport that he will play. When is it that you fell in love with cricket? Let's ask you that.
Still figuring that out. Because I think that's a very interesting word, arranged marriage. I was very young that time. I was more into roller skating and, playing a bit of tennis and playing football, and eventually my father said, you're just going to play cricket from now on, because I think he wanted me to live his dream.
Yeah.
He didn't play for India for a long time. He wanted me to become a fast bowler, but fortunately for me and unfortunately for him, I became a batsman, all-rounder, spinner. And I think at the age of, say, 15, 16, started competing and, winning the Under-19 World Cup. I knew that I had it in me to go all the way. But I didn't know how to sustain it because I was very young. So I think at the age of, I was almost going to be 19, I played first time for India against one of the best attacks in the world. And I think just again the process had started from the age of 11. That my father was hitting me with wet tennis balls, leather balls, plastic balls. At times I was not wearing a helmet as well, because my father's idol was Vivian Richards. So he said, if he's not going to wear a helmet, you're not going to wear a helmet as well. So I had to convince him after a couple of years that, the best player of era is Tendulkar, he wears a helmet, see.
If you could tell us about some things that you did, you believe that no one else or very few people would have done at that point in time.
I was a number 3 batsman, opening number 3 batsman. And when I played for India for the first time, I batted number 5.
Yep.
And then I got a regular spot at number 6. So I could not bat top of the order. Like Vrinder Sehwag was batting at 6,
Yep.
and he started to open.
Yep.
So I think the team requirement wanted him to open and me to bat at number 6, and that's how the formation happened, where the balance of the team came in. So sometimes I feel that you have to sacrifice your own personal goal for the team to look at the bigger picture, to achieve the bigger picture. So I think that's, I sacrifice that because everybody wants to bat higher up the order because, you want to get hundreds, you want to break records, and obviously the more balls you play, the more opportunities you have. But I think the team required me to bat at number 6 and had to sacrifice a personal goal for the team.
Where did you learn these virtues of humility, spirituality, patience, discipline, sticking to the process? I mean, 11, 12-year-olds turning 16 to 19, it would be difficult, right, to learn all those things?
Yeah, I mean, my father was on my case 24/7. He didn't leave me for a single moment. I mean, from 6 a.m. in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening, I was on the park literally. And then he kind of removed the garden in the house and made a cement wicket where I used to practice in the night. And that was the discipline he created at a very young age. And then obviously when I came in the Indian team, I could see how my seniors would behave off the field, like how good ambassadors they were of the country, how to treat other people, how to talk to the media, how to speak to your fans. I think that showed a lot of humility. So it was a hard balance, as a young kid I always thought, when you play for India, you can do whatever you want. And then I realized when you're playing for India, you can't do 90% of things because you're being watched every day. And you have to set an example out there for the youth. And
when was it that moment, when did it hit you when you said that, okay, you're playing for India, you're being watched every day, you can't do everything that you want? Was there any particular instance or was it over a period of time?
I think when you get dropped from the team, and I got dropped from the team, and you get so much of criticism, and you're not able to handle it because you're a young kid. And then slowly you learn to handle it, and you come back in the team, you succeed again. And then slowly you realize that this is all just a part of your journey. When you're representing India, you have a lot of responsibility, and you have to be in a certain way. and you have to balance your life along with it. So I think learned the hard way, and that's what made me who I am today, because I learned the hard way.
You said that you learned a lot from the team environment at the time you joined, your seniors, etc. Tell me a couple of things that people have taught you. Okay, I'll take some names. Mr. Anil Kumble, you call him the headmaster.
He was a hard taskmaster on the field. Like, I remember when me and Mohammad Kaif were fielding, we knew if the ball goes from us, he's going to have a go at us. So our job, guys who are 20, 21 in the park, is to break your body, but the ball should not pass you. So, you could see the guy would give 100%. I mean, remember Anil Kumble was bowling with a broken jaw in West Indies. So it's so inspiring to see a senior do that. If he can do that, then you need to learn to do that, right? So that was Anil Kumble for you, but a lovely guy off the field. We still joke around with him, and he laughs at us.
Virender Sehwag, you spoke about him opening the innings, wham bam. Was he off the field the same as he was on the field, no holds barred?
Viru was a completely different guy. He would whistle off the field, he will whistle on the field while he's batting. He's someone who really it seemed like he didn't take much pressure on himself. Because if he's the kind of guy, if he had a look at the first ball, he would go after it. And he was very clear in his thinking that if I see the ball, I hit the ball. And a very relaxed guy off the field as well.
What was Ganguly's process like? Because everyone calls him the aggressive captain who backed all the youngsters and all of that and stuff. I'm sure there was method to the madness.
See, I think Saurav, obviously a very young captain, and had a lot of huge responsibility because after some controversies, a couple of younger guys came in the team and he really backed us. Like, we were not consistent, we were in and out of the team, but he knew that we had the talent. So actually he really supported us.
I will save this one for the last, and that is Mr. Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. Because you said you lifted the bat because of him, you started admiring cricket because of him. So what were the few things that you learned from him?
Me and my dad will always bet every game how much Sachin will score, and seen him play since a very young age, and my father would say if he can play at 16, you can play at 14. Like, my dad's got really high hopes from me. So learning, I think, very humble human, always there as a senior. It took a long time to get close to him, because by the time I came to the side, he was already a legend at a very young age. And I remember I sat in the dressing room for the first time, and I opened my kit bag and I had a picture of Sachin, and he was sitting next to me.
Wow.
And he looked at my coffin and he goes, "Nice picture. Who's that guy?" And he started laughing. So I think broke the ice. That's how I was able to speak to him. And obviously over the years, I have a relationship with him where I can go and speak to him about my life, about my struggles. Obviously my struggles of batting, I would always go and sort out with him. So I think he was kind of my mentor in the team whenever he was there and whenever I was there in the team. So learned a lot from him.
Just a few personal things that he would have told you that helped you a lot in your life outside of cricket, if you could share some of those with us.
You just gauge like how he talks to people, like his attitude in training. If he scored a 0 or 100, would be the same. I remember he was on 70 hundreds and he would work for Gary Kirsten for long hours. In 2003 World Cup, he was, you could see that the guy is, practicing things differently, and you learn a lot from it. And then obviously how, he spoke to the media and how to be grounded when you are, that successful. And obviously, I had a couple of issues with batting with my spin. I was not a good player of spin when I came to the side. He told me that, you need to learn how to sweep, especially when you're playing in slow Asian tracks. And every time I was in trouble, a bit of motivation. I think before the World Cup, I had a great chat with him where actually really helped me in terms of, getting the best of my mental side, because physically I was struggling. So, sometimes you don't see things in you, but people see around what's happening. So it's good to know that somebody's got your back.
Well, he's just described the qualities of a great mentor, and that perhaps leads to the team's victory as well. 2007 and the next 2020 World Cup is what I'd like your thoughts about. Not the 2007 T20 World Cup, but the 2007 ODI World Cup, where the team wasn't doing well. What do you think happened out there? Because on paper, that perhaps was the strongest team ever.
I mean, we didn't have a good atmosphere in the dressing room. When the team is not gelling together, results are not going to come by.
What does that mean, a good atmosphere? Because one would imagine that, there are kids who are just going out to play a game, and ideally there should be a happy atmosphere. That's what the average Joe thinks. But what is not a good atmosphere?
When kids going out there to play, they have a fearless mind. When adults go out to play, they have a fearful mind. So the atmosphere in the team means like guys are not gelling, the decisions that are happening, people not agreeing with that. There are groups in the team, and there's not a good vibe, So all those things were happening. As I said, talk about Tendulkar, he was our best player. He was batting at number 4, which I don't think was the right decision at that time, but again, it's debatable. And then obviously, a lot of guys were dropped, and then they came back in the side just before the World Cup. So it was just not a good time in Indian cricket. And you learn from it and you move forward.
MS Dhoni usually does not speak much. You said in the game against Australia, while he was getting out, he walked past you and said, "Shabash, Yuvi, khatam karke aana."
Yeah, I think it was a very high pressure game. And normally, if you look at our stats, me and Mahi have had a lot of big partnerships.
Incredible ones. Yeah, we don't need to look at stats. We'll just jog our memory down, and our childhood has been colored with some great partnerships.
But also big games.
Big games as well.
Big games, and I remember, and the thing is that we lost to Australia 2003 World Cup final, and that's obviously playing in your mind, and then you're chasing 265, they got you 180 for 5, and Dhoni got out. And I remember him, normally if he gets out or I get out, we just go back to the dressing room, and he just walked past and he said, "Shabash, Yuvi." And I was like, yeah, there's no pressure here, and you just said that. In my head, I was thinking.
You know where I'm going from all these conversations that I'm having, right? Next week, we have the ODI World Cup starting. What do you think are our chances?
Our chances are looking good now. I was not sure before the Asia Cup because a lot of guys were injured. Jasprit Bumrah, one of our main bowlers, coming back. But with the Asia Cup performances and now beating a top side like Australia, I think we're looking good. And I just feel the pressure is going to be different this time because this is no quarterfinal. You play everyone and you straight away go in a big game like semi-final.
Yeah.
And if you have a bad session in that game, you could lose the game. So the pressure is going to be very quick, very certain if India qualifies. So I just hope that the game time they will have in the 9, 11 games, 12 games, whatever they play, and on a big game, they're able to absorb that pressure.
What would you say your mindset, preparation should be for these 9 to 11 games that you're going to play?
Well, I would say that play the situation, not the expectation. Because in our country, the expectation is India has come to win. India is only going to win. India beats Pakistan, we won the World Cup. You have to realize that people expectations always, they want their country to win because they will expect that from you because you're one of the best teams in the world. But the point is that if you are good enough to play the situation and sail through, I'm sure you will end up playing the World Cup final.
Let me put you on the spot then. Your top 4 semi-final teams would be?
Obviously India, I think Australia. So there is England, New Zealand and South Africa. I would probably say New Zealand and South Africa.
New Zealand and South Africa. So India, Australia.
I would pick 5.
Okay, you would pick 5.
Yeah.
Because you're Yuvraj Singh, we'll give you 5 as well. But let's ask you a couple of fun questions now. So tell me about the innovation in pranks, because you were the master prankster of the team along with Bajji. Give me a couple of these innovative pranks that you played.
because Saurav Ganguly played a very bad prank on me when I was making my debut.
What did he do?
He told me that I'm going to open against Australia.
Wow.
And I had a sleepless night. And next day he's like, मैं ही open करता हूँ रे, मजाक कर रहा था तेरे साथ.
So were you happy at not opening or were you happy at not being given the opening slot?
I was very happy not opening because all night I dreamt about McGrath, Gillespie and Brett Lee bowling
Wow.
150, 145, 140 at me. And then obviously I was like, okay, I didn't say anything to Dada. I was like, one day if I stay in the team, I will give it back. And then we were playing Pakistan in 2004. And me and Bhaji made a false paper of Times of India where Dada's given false statements about his players, that he's not happy with his teammates and some guys are not supporting him. And obviously, we go in the morning, we tell the whole team we're going to play a prank on Dada because it's April Fool's Day. Showing the paper and Dada has obviously gone red in his face and he goes, I have not said this. If I have said this, I will resign just now. So he's walking towards the media to give a statement and Rahul touches his shoulder like, April Fool's Day, Dada. And he's like, Kisne kiya re? So obviously people pointed to me and Bhaji and he started running after us. And I was like, relax Dada, we have a match to play.
Have you ever pulled a fast one on Sachin?
I tried to, but he was always a bit ahead of everyone, just like on bowlers, so very
Has
tough.
he pulled a fast one on you?
Every time.
What has he done?
I don't know. In conversation, obviously, he has a great sense of humor. It's very hard to like win from him in a conversation. And we always played TT. We always battled in table tennis.
Yeah.
And till now, after 20 years, trying to figure out to beat him in table tennis.
How do you physically endure the kind of pain that you are playing with when you are on the ground? Because mentally you can be strong, you can say, okay, one more over, I have to bat, one more ball, I have to bat. But when that leather hits, it really stings, hurts, right? How do you play with pain?
See, I think you get used to it. You get used to getting injured or falling on the park, and you take a lot of inspiration from other sports. The guys who are, in other sports, and you see how dangerous some other sports are. And you have to put your body on line when you're representing a country. You're like I always feel if you're representing a country, you're like a soldier. Country comes first. So I think when you have that kind of motive, everything falls in place.
Everything falls in place, and the way it did fall in place on 2nd April 2011 as well. But cut to exactly a couple of months later, how was it dealing with that at that point in time? And I'm sure initially there was that shock. Thereafter, you started to come to terms with it. How was that process?
Yeah, it was hard because as an athlete, it's hard when you're playing for your country and you're training, you're physically fit, and something like that hits you. I think it's kind of a shock, and I was not able to come to terms with it for a year. I kept on playing, and my health became worse, and eventually the doctor said that you don't have much time. So either you keep playing cricket or you go for your treatment. And that was a shock for me, and then obviously I had to go for my treatment. It was a big setback in my career because I was probably at the peak of my career. And the test spot has just opened up because Dada had retired. So it was unfortunate, but you kind of look back and be proud of yourself through the journey. How I fought and how I prevailed through. And, I was able to inspire a lot of people from there in their journeys, people who were going through cancer. I started my own cancer foundation called UV
Of course.
in 2013 when I came back. Took me about 2 years to get fully fit. I was in and out of the team. And then I eventually came and scored my highest score. So mind over matter. And and here I am.
Here you are. I mean, a huge round of applause for just being able to step on that field once again, and thereafter, make your highest ODI score post that 150. That was just incredible. In fact, you've described your life as a series of the letters C. Started out from Chandigarh, then played cricket, scored a lot of centuries, won a lot of cups, then battled the big C that we're talking about right now. But the only one C that I think defines you is a champion, and we just have to give it up for the champion that Yuvraj Singh is. What do you think your life as an athlete taught you for the life outside, and what do you think businessmen can learn from sports?
What we can learn from each other is team building, is team bonding, because I think in business to create, if you look at the big corporates, they have great teams. And I was talking about sacrifice. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your position for the betterment of the team, of the corporate, and that's how you think different. Teams who think differently are champions, and I think same in business. Corporates who think different are the guys who make it big.
All right. At what point does data stop and the human intelligence start? At what point is it gut? At what point is it data? And what point is it gut, data, gut?
See, you can make a good team with data, but with data you can't win a game. You have to win a game with your instinct, what you've learned, what your skill has provided you, and you need to have good match winners in your team, otherwise data is not going to help you. But the data will provide you with good match winners, which you're going to buy. But once you have a team, you got to show your performance on the field. Data can only help you in a certain way.
You are a father yourself right now. How have you turned out as a parent, evolved from what you've learned from your parents?
My father definitely had no data on me. And he made sure that that I'm his hard drive, and he's going to feed all the information that he's learned in his cricketing career. I definitely won't go my father's way and tell him to start playing cricket at the age of 3. I just want him to, live like a normal kid. Give him an opportunity to decide what he wants to do with his life. Let the kid be a kid. That's my philosophy.
If you had to turn back the clock, what would you tell your younger self? What's the one piece of advice that you would give?
If I had more knowledge about, training and diet, would have helped my career. I definitely would not like to go through the cancer journey again, because that was painful. But otherwise, I don't have much regrets. The only regret that I have is that I should have played golf at a very young age, because I love the sport now.
Who do you think will be the next one to hit 6 sixes?
With the way IPL or T20 is going, anybody can hit 6 sixes in a day, in an over. I mean, a lot of guys have come close to it. It's just a matter of time. The good thing is that if nobody bowls a no ball, somebody will equal my record. If somebody bowls a no ball, then the 7-6 is going to be up for grabs, but let's see.
Who do you see the most of Yuvraj Singh in the current lot?
See, I think every player is different. I never like to relate some player to other players, but Jaiswal has done exceptionally well. Great IPL season, 170 on debut. That's a dream start for any young guy. But for me personally, I've seen the graph of Shubman Gill since he played for Punjab, and I've been watching him over the years. I had an opportunity to work with him as well, and I've seen his graph and the way he's going. I think he's going to be one of the best players of this generation.
If India were to win the World Cup, and we hope and pray that we do,
I think if India has to win the World Cup, I think Shubman can be the game changer, because when you're a young guy, you're more fearless. You're not worried about, big situations. You're just thinking about how I can, change the momentum of the game. I think his game is at that level right now. He scored double 100 in one-day cricket, which is a big thing at a young age. And I definitely think he can, break the shackles of the opposition.
Is this the last ODI World Cup that we will see, according to you?
I actually don't know. It's a very interesting question. I honestly feel 50-over cricket is dying. Now, because the World Cup is coming, so people will be excited. But people are more prone to watch T20 because it's faster, it's quicker. It's like football or any other fast sport. I just feel if they want to make 50 over more exciting, they probably could change the format, which I think Sachin had suggested a couple of years ago, to make it 25 overs each side. And, you know, both teams bat twice.
A 2-inning, 50-over game is
25
something that
overs,
is-
1 inning, yeah.
Perfect, makes sense. And finally, I know you love music. If you could describe your life so far in a song, what would it be?
I think it would be, I did it my way, Frank Sinatra.
Frank
Yeah,
Sinatra?
yeah.
Yuvraj, this was a pleasure speaking
Thank
with you.
you.
Thank you so much. This was great.